See change. A profound or significant transformation or shift, often occurring gradually over time. A fundamental change in circumstances, attitudes, or perspectives that alters the course of events or relationships. The global pandemic led to a sea change in remote work practices, prompting many companies to adopt flexible work arrangements. The invention of the internet brought about a sea change in how information is accessed and shared. The political landscape experienced a sea change following the election, with new policies and priorities emerging. Her diagnosis with a chronic illness brought about a sea change in her lifestyle and priorities, leading her to focus on self-care and wellness. The company underwent a sea change in its corporate culture, prioritizing diversity and inclusion initiatives. The winds of change. Forces or influences that herald or signal impending changes or shifts in circumstances. The feeling or sense that change is imminent, often accompanied by uncertainty or anticipation. The company's restructuring announcement brought with it the winds of change, leaving employees uncertain about their future. The rapid advancement of technology has brought about the winds of change in various industries, requiring adaptation and innovation. The protests sweeping across the country reflected the winds of change, as people demanded social and political reforms. As the economy fluctuates, businesses must stay vigilant and attuned to the winds of change to remain competitive. The election results signaled the winds of change, with voters expressing a desire for new leadership. Ring the changes. To introduce variations or alterations in order to keep something fresh or interesting. To make adjustments or modifications to a situation or routine to prevent monotony or predictability. The theater company decided to ring the changes by staging a modern adaptation of a classic play. The chef likes to ring the changes by experimenting with new ingredients and flavors in her recipes. To keep students engaged, the teacher regularly rings the changes by incorporating interactive activities into lessons. The conference organizers aim to ring the changes by introducing interactive workshops and panel discussions. The fashion designer rings the changes each season by unveiling new collections that reflect current trends and influences. Change horses in midstream. To change plans, allegiances, or strategies abruptly, especially in the midst of an ongoing activity or process. To make a significant change in direction or approach when it may be risky or disruptive to do so. The political candidate's decision to change horses in midstream by adopting a new campaign strategy raised concerns among supporters. The coach faced criticism for changing horses in midstream by switching tactics during the championship game. With the project already underway, it's too late to change horses in midstream without causing confusion and delays. Despite reservations, the company decided to change horses in midstream and switch to a different supplier for essential components. The CEO's sudden resignation forced the company to change horses in midstream and appoint an interim leader to steer the organization. Change tack. To adopt a different approach or strategy, especially in response to changing circumstances or to achieve better results. To shift direction or change course, often in a figurative sense, in order to navigate a situation more effectively. The company changed tack by investing more resources in research and development to stay ahead of competitors. After facing resistance from stakeholders, the project team decided to change tack and focus on a different marketing strategy. Faced with budget constraints, the organization changed tack and prioritized cost-saving initiatives over expansion plans. When negotiations reached an impasse, they decided to change tack and explore alternative solutions to reach a compromise. The coach changed tack by substituting key players to adapt to the opponent's playing style. Change one's tune. To alter one's opinion, attitude, or behavior, especially in a sudden or noticeable manner. To shift one's stance or perspective, often due to a change in circumstances or new information. She changed her tune about pursuing a career in medicine after shadowing a doctor and gaining firsthand experience. The company changed its tune on environmental sustainability after facing public backlash for its previous practices. The politician changed his tune on immigration policy in response to shifting public opinion and political pressure. The investor changed his tune about the startup's potential after reviewing its latest financial projections. At first, he was skeptical about the proposal, but he changed his tune after hearing more details about its potential benefits. Change with the wind. To be easily influenced or swayed by external factors, opinions, or circumstances without a fixed or consistent stance. To exhibit a lack of steadfastness or conviction, adapting one's views or actions according to prevailing trends or pressures. He's known for changing with the wind, always endorsing the latest trends and opinions without considering their long-term implications. The company's marketing strategy changes with the wind, following whatever approach seems popular at the moment rather than adhering to a consistent brand identity. In times of uncertainty, it's easy to change with the wind and go along with whatever seems expedient in the moment, but true leaders remain steadfast in their convictions. Her political views seem to change with the wind, depending on the prevailing public opinion or party line. Rather than standing firm on his principles, he changes with the wind, aligning himself with whoever holds the most power or influence. Chemistry between two people. A strong mutual attraction, connection, or rapport between individuals, often characterized by compatibility and understanding. A harmonious or magnetic interaction between people that fosters a sense of closeness or intimacy. The chemistry between the actors on set translated into convincing performances that captivated audiences. Despite their differing backgrounds, they shared a chemistry that made their conversations flow effortlessly. When they finally met in person, they discovered that the chemistry they had felt online was even stronger face-to-face. As collaborators, their creative chemistry allowed them to produce innovative ideas and solutions. From their first meeting, there was undeniable chemistry between them, and they quickly became inseparable. Chemistry experiment. A scientific procedure conducted to investigate chemical reactions, properties, or phenomena. An activity or demonstration carried out to illustrate principles of chemistry or to test hypotheses. In the chemistry lab, students conducted experiments to determine the properties of various compounds. The teacher performed a chemistry experiment to demonstrate the concept of acid-base reactions to the class. The chemistry experiment yielded unexpected results, prompting further investigation into the underlying mechanisms. As part of their research project, scientists conducted a series of chemistry experiments to develop new materials. The science fair featured a variety of chemistry experiments designed by students to showcase their understanding of chemical concepts. In someone's chemistry. Present in a person's nature or character, inherent or intrinsic to their personality, affecting or influencing the way a person interacts with others or perceives the world. Despite their differences, there's a shared sense of humor in their chemistry that brings them together. The adventurous streak in his chemistry leads him to seek out new experiences and challenges. The optimism in her chemistry allows her to see the silver lining in even the most challenging situations. Her kindness and empathy are ingrained in her chemistry, making her a compassionate friend and listener. His competitive spirit is deeply rooted in his chemistry, driving him to excel in sports and academics. Chemistry set. A kit containing various chemicals, laboratory equipment, and instructions for conducting chemistry experiments. A toy or educational tool designed to introduce children to basic principles of chemistry through hands-on experimentation. The chemistry set sparked his interest in chemistry at a young age, ultimately leading him to pursue a career in science. The chemistry set came with safety goggles, test tubes, and a manual with step-by-step instructions for conducting experiments. The school's science club organized a workshop where students could explore chemistry concepts using interactive chemistry sets. As a child, he received a chemistry set for his birthday and spent hours conducting experiments in his makeshift laboratory. She bought her nephew a chemistry set for Christmas to nurture his interest in science and encourage curiosity. Chemistry teacher. An educator who specializes in teaching chemistry, imparting knowledge of chemical principles, reactions, and applications. A mentor or guide who inspires students to develop an understanding and appreciation for the field of chemistry. Recognizing the importance of hands-on learning, the chemistry teacher provided students with opportunities to conduct experiments and explore chemical concepts in depth. As a passionate advocate for science education, the chemistry teacher organized extracurricular activities and field trips to enrich students' learning experiences. The chemistry teacher conducted engaging experiments and demonstrations to make complex concepts more accessible to students. The chemistry teacher's dedication to fostering a supportive learning environment helped students overcome challenges and succeed in mastering the subject. The chemistry teacher's enthusiasm for the subject inspired many students to pursue further studies and careers in chemistry-related fields. Chemistry class. A scheduled session or course of instruction in which students learn about chemical principles, reactions, and applications. The group of students enrolled in a chemistry course who attend class together and engage in learning activities. As part of their coursework, students in the chemistry class presented reports on recent developments and discoveries in the field of chemistry. The chemistry class studied the periodic table and learned about the properties and behaviors of different elements. During chemistry class, the teacher explained the concepts of stoichiometry and guided students through practice problems to reinforce their understanding. The chemistry class collaborated on a research project investigating the environmental impact of chemical pollutants. In chemistry class, students conducted experiments to observe chemical reactions and analyze their results. Chemistry lesson. An instructional session or educational presentation focused on teaching specific concepts, theories, or techniques related to chemistry. A period of learning or instruction during which students acquire knowledge and skills related to chemical principles and applications. The chemistry lesson concluded with a hands-on activity where students collaborated in small groups to design and conduct their own experiments. The chemistry lesson included a demonstration of acid-base titrations to illustrate principles of stoichiometry and equilibrium. In the chemistry lesson, the teacher used multimedia presentations and interactive simulations to engage students and enhance their understanding of complex concepts. During the chemistry lesson, students learned how to balance chemical equations and predict the products of reactions. The chemistry lesson covered the basics of atomic structure and introduced students to the concept of chemical bonding. Apples and oranges. Used to highlight the fundamental differences between two things that are not comparable or similar. Represents the notion that attempting to compare or equate two inherently different entities is illogical or invalid. Comparing the performance of a sports car to that of a minivan is like comparing apples and oranges. They serve entirely different purposes. Trying to judge the quality of a painting and a sculpture is like comparing apples and oranges. Each is a distinct form of artistic expression. Comparing the environmental impact of plastic bags and paper bags is like comparing apples and oranges. They have different ecological footprints. You can't compare the intelligence of dogs and cats. It's like comparing apples and oranges. They have different strengths and behaviors. When discussing the benefits of living in the city versus the countryside, it's like comparing apples and oranges because each offers unique advantages and drawbacks. Chalk and cheese. Used to emphasize the stark contrast or differences between two people, things, or situations. Represents the idea that two entities are entirely dissimilar in nature, characteristics, or qualities. The old and new versions of the software are like chalk and cheese. The new version is sleek and user-friendly, while the old version is clunky and outdated. Comparing the weather in Hawaii to the weather in Alaska is like comparing chalk and cheese. One is tropical and warm, while the other is cold and snowy. Sarah and her sister are like chalk and cheese. While Sarah is outgoing and adventurous, her sister is reserved and prefers quiet activities. The two candidates have completely different approaches to leadership. They're like chalk and cheese in terms of management style. The hotel rooms were like chalk and cheese. The deluxe suite was spacious and luxurious, while the standard room was small and basic. 6 of one, half a dozen of the other. Expresses the idea that two options or alternatives are essentially the same or equally preferable. Indicates that there is little practical difference between two choices or outcomes. Whether we eat at the Italian restaurant or the Mexican restaurant, it's 6 of one, half a dozen of the other. They're both nearby and offer tasty options. Buying a new car versus leasing one is 6 of one, half a dozen of the other. They both have their advantages and drawbacks. Whether we take the highway or the scenic route, it's 6 of one, half a dozen of the other. We'll still arrive at the same time. Choosing between the two candidates is like deciding between 6 of one and half a dozen of the other. They both have similar qualifications and policies. We can either order pizza for dinner or cook pasta at home. It's 6 of one, half a dozen of the other. Either way, we'll have a delicious meal. Compare apples to apples. Encourages making a fair and direct comparison between similar or equivalent things or situations. Advises against comparing things that are inherently different or unequal. When analyzing financial data, it's crucial to compare apples to apples by using consistent metrics and benchmarks. When evaluating job offers, make sure to compare apples to apples by considering factors like salary, benefits, and job responsibilities. When comparing the cost of living in different cities, it's essential to compare apples to apples by considering housing prices, transportation costs, and other expenses. When choosing a college, students should compare apples to apples by considering factors such as tuition, campus amenities, and academic programs. In a scientific study, researchers must compare apples to apples by controlling variables and ensuring that experimental conditions are consistent. Black and white refers to a situation or issue that is clear-cut, unambiguous, or easily understandable, with no shades of gray. Represents the contrast between two extreme or opposite positions or perspectives. He sees everything in black and white, with no room for nuance or compromise. The judge's decision was black and white. There was overwhelming evidence of the defendant's guilt. The issue of climate change is not black and white. It's complex and multifaceted, with various contributing factors and potential solutions. She has a black and white view of morality, believing that actions are either right or wrong, with no gray areas. The rules of the game are black and white. Either you follow them, or you don't. Cut from the same cloth. Used to describe people or things that are very similar in character, temperament, or behavior. Indicates that two or more individuals share common traits, qualities, or backgrounds. Sarah and her mother are cut from the same cloth. They both have a passion for art and creativity. The two rival companies are cut from the same cloth. They offer similar products at comparable prices. The two political candidates are cut from the same cloth. They have similar ideologies and policy positions. John and his brother are cut from the same cloth. They're both ambitious and hardworking. Despite their different backgrounds, the two friends are cut from the same cloth. They share the same values and interests. On the same page. In agreement or harmony with someone else. Having mutual understanding or shared objectives. Used to describe individuals or groups who are in alignment or have a unified perspective on a particular issue or matter. It's essential that the management team is on the same page regarding the company's strategic priorities and goals. The negotiations went smoothly because both parties were on the same page about the terms of the agreement. To ensure a successful event, it's crucial that all event planners are on the same page regarding logistics and scheduling. We need to make sure everyone in the group is on the same page about the presentation format and content before the meeting. We're all on the same page about the project timeline and deliverables, so let's move forward with the plan. 6s and 7s. In a state of confusion, disorder, or disarray, lacking organization or clarity. Refers to a situation or condition characterized by uncertainty or unpredictability. Due to the last-minute changes, the event was thrown into 6s and 7s, leading to logistical challenges and confusion. The project fell into 6s and 7s when key team members left unexpectedly, causing delays and setbacks. The house was in 6s and 7s after the party, with dishes piled up in the sink and decorations scattered everywhere. With conflicting instructions from different managers, the team was left in 6s and 7s, unsure of how to proceed. After the unexpected announcement, the office was in 6s and 7s as employees tried to make sense of the changes. Same difference. Used to point out that two options or outcomes, despite appearing different, result in the same overall effect or consequence. Indicates that distinctions between two things are trivial or inconsequential, as they lead to equivalent outcomes. Choosing between the chicken and the beef is the same difference. They both cost the same and taste similar. Whether we take the bus or the subway, it's the same difference. We'll both get to the destination at the same time. Whether you pay in cash or by credit card, it's the same difference. The total amount owed remains unchanged. Whether you arrive at 9 a.m. or 9:15 a.m., it's the same difference. The meeting hasn't started yet. Some people prefer tea, while others prefer coffee, but it's the same difference. They both provide a caffeine boost. In the dark, unaware of something, lacking knowledge or information about a particular situation or topic. Being in a state of ignorance or confusion, not understanding the full extent or implications of a situation. The children were in the dark about their parents' decision to move until the day they were told. The employees were kept in the dark about the company's financial troubles until the last minute. Without access to reliable news sources, people in remote villages often remain in the dark about current events. She felt like she was in the dark about the new project, as no one had briefed her on its objectives or timeline. Without proper guidance, students may be left in the dark about the expectations for their assignments. Dark horse. A little-known or unexpected candidate, competitor, or contender who emerges to achieve success, often surprising others. A person or thing that conceals hidden abilities, talents, or potential until given the opportunity to shine. Despite being relatively unknown, the actor proved to be a dark horse in the audition, delivering a standout performance. The indie film was a dark horse at the awards ceremony, receiving multiple nominations and winning several categories. The young tennis player was considered a dark horse in the tournament, but ended up winning the championship. The startup was a dark horse in the tech industry, but its innovative product quickly gained widespread popularity. The underdog team was seen as a dark horse in the competition, but they surprised everyone by making it to the finals. Keep someone in the dark. To intentionally withhold information from someone. To keep someone unaware of certain facts or details. To deliberately exclude someone from being informed about a particular matter or decision. The manager decided to keep the team in the dark about the layoffs until the details were finalized. It's unfair to keep employees in the dark about company policies and decisions that affect their work. The government's decision to keep the public in the dark about the impending crisis only fueled speculation and panic. She felt frustrated when her colleagues kept her in the dark about the upcoming changes to the project. Parents may keep their children in the dark about financial struggles to shield them from worry or anxiety. Lost in the dark. Confused or disoriented, especially in a situation where one lacks clarity or understanding. Feeling uncertain or directionless, as if unable to find a solution or way forward. Without a map or GPS, we quickly became lost in the dark forest. The team was lost in the dark when the project manager resigned unexpectedly, leaving them without guidance. After the sudden death of her husband, she felt lost in the dark, unsure of how to move forward with her life. Without clear instructions, the students felt lost in the dark during the exam, unsure of what to focus on. When faced with a difficult decision, it's easy to feel lost in the dark, unable to see the best course of action. Throw light on. To provide clarity, insight, or understanding about a topic or situation. To illuminate something previously unknown or unclear. To shed light on a matter by offering information, explanations, or perspectives that bring greater understanding. The seminar will throw light on recent developments in the field of artificial intelligence. The new documentary aims to throw light on the environmental impact of plastic pollution. By interviewing eyewitnesses, the journalist was able to throw light on the events leading up to the accident. The investigation will hopefully throw light on the cause of the mysterious disappearance. The expert's analysis helped to throw light on the origins of the ancient artifact. In the dead of night refers to a period of time late at night when it is darkest and quietest, during the deepest part of the night, occurring or happening secretly or discreetly during the late hours of the night. The burglars broke into the house in the dead of night, taking advantage of the darkness and silence. She woke up in the dead of night, startled by a loud noise outside her window. The rescue mission was launched in the dead of night to minimize the risk of detection by enemy forces. The old mansion looked eerie and ominous in the dead of night, surrounded by shadows and silence. He often found himself pondering life's big questions in the dead of night, when the world was asleep. Dark cloud. A metaphorical representation of a looming threat, danger, or problem, something that casts a shadow over a situation or future prospects. A symbol of impending trouble, adversity, or uncertainty that could have negative consequences. The dark cloud of war hung over the country as tensions escalated between neighboring nations. The diagnosis of a serious illness was a dark cloud that overshadowed their plans for the future. The scandal surrounding the politician created a dark cloud over his re-election campaign. The economic downturn cast a dark cloud over the prospects of many businesses in the region. The impending deadline for the project was a dark cloud looming over the team, causing stress and anxiety. Level up your English. Master vocabulary, idioms, and phrasal verbs with fun quizzes. Translate meanings into 104 languages. Download now. Link in the description. Please like and subscribe to our channel.